Hello Ulta, and welcome to your Hunter Workshop. So, covering any questions first. Alongside my current Trinket, dice/OCE, that's for MM by the way. Also for 441 mirror, seeming pretty much the same as dice currently. And 450 beacon, seeming slightly below dice. Would there be a fight where either of those trinkets would be better than dice, even though they're all quite close in patchwork 5-minute sims? So, beacon, I'd say generally no. Mirror, so mirror obviously takes the sort of flat stats of dice and random procs and just turns it into an unuse, which it can be situationally quite powerful. But you basically need a moment where there's a really big 3-minute kind of burst window. So that might happen on a fight that is like a fight, like it might be worth simming a fight that is just above 4 minutes long. Because then you get basically a perfect final true shot in execute and all that with the mirror buff. And maybe that'll be enough to push ahead of dice. But if there are any other fights now or in the future, well, probably not in the future because there'll be new trinkets. But if you ever encounter a timer where you're delaying true shot until the 3-minute mark for like fight related reasons, then that could be worth looking into. But I'd say very generically, you can stick with these trinkets. I think the main thing missing here is not the mirror or beacon, it's a bomb dispenser. Alright. Trying to understand if I really played this fight not that good, or is passing for MM just very RNG based? Well, I can already say now, before having looked at it, yes, passing for MM is very RNG based. It's not just very RNG based, it is the most RNG based in the history of WoW. At least recent history. I don't know stuff before Wrath. Felt like I played Magmar's Reclair quite good. There were some things I could have optimized better, such as using last true shot a bit later with more bullseye stacks and now setting a turtle at long. But I was wondering if all of those small things really make the difference between a 78 and a 90. Alright, let's have a look. I opened the log just to start with, because there was one thing I wanted to check, and that's just, yeah, so this log is before, wait, no, okay, so it is with an augmentation evoker. And then what I'm interested in is, okay, did you get Ebon Might? And the answer is yes. Not that much though, probably less than many would. But it's important to know about hunter passing as I'm making this video right now. If you get buffed by an augmentation evoker as MM, you will actually lose DPS on the log. So they will take more damage from you than they actually should be, because there's a bug with like pre/post armor reduction. Like they take your damage from you as if it would be before it is reduced by the armor on the boss. So they're taking, you know, something like 30% more than they're supposed to from your physical spells. And that means that, you know, the more you get buffed, the more this sort of siphon of your damage happens, and the more DPS you lose. So the best way to pass right now is to stay as far away from augmentation evokers as possible. 30% uptime is not that bad though. But, you know, if you're watching this and you feel like, you know, your DPS has gone down since the patch, even though you're performing to the same standard or better, or like your gear has gone up, but the DPS has gone pretty reliably down, then this is probably why. So that's the first thing, you know. But then the next thing was just general metrics I wanted to have a look at, and also just build, but I'm pretty confident that this is going to be the optimal build. Here it is, so no need to spend too much time there. So generic metrics, aim shot 100%, great. Rapid fire 91, that's basically as good as it's gonna get. Steady focus buff up time is suspiciously high. 81% is quite high, but we'll look in the VOD to see if that's actually a problem or not. Active time is fairly low, just wanna verify if you died. Yeah, so a lot of downtime compared to what's possible. You know, this fight shouldn't really force you to be more than like 2%. You know, 2% I'd say is excellent here. Effective focus from generators is a little bit low. Let me just check here. I think that'll be better to check in the actual VOD actually. No augment rune, that's pretty minor. High quality enchants you're being flagged for. Let's see where that is from. Waking stats is all good. You got the right enchant here. Oh, right, it's just your bracers are using it. You should probably upgrade this. There's 200 avoidance on offer for bracers, but certainly not going to impact your DPS meaningfully. Rest of your gear is pretty awesome, so won't waste too much time there. You're running what looks like Shadow Flame plus boots, which is good. Let me see if there's anything else I can say here. Nope, I'm just gonna hop straight into the VOD. Oops. Well, that's the wrong video, isn't it? Alright. So aim shot precast to 2.5, good. Double steady. Then we get, let me see. What did you cast right after the double steady? That's what I'm interested in. I guess. Oh, that was your steel trap going. Okay, I just wanted to make sense of the UI there. Then it's a steel trap. And then we're basically into the rotation. Okay. So it looks like you're occasionally, and I think this is better to check here, you're putting 2 globals between, or maybe I'm wrong actually, let's see. Yes, I'm looking for moments where you're putting more than 1 global between aim shots, but that does not appear to be the case. It was the lock and load proc that made me believe so. There's honestly no issues here. The RNG is not terrible so far. It's not great either. So you got like a 29, that's kind of mid RNG, I would say. But then you get another proc here to extend it a bit, and you make pretty good use of it. Get that kill shot proc. Yeah, so far no real issues with the play. You're being quite aggressive on steady shots, for example, like that moment right there. Let me just try and find it. Like at this point, you're like at 80 focus. Now 75 after you hit an arcane. And then you send another steady shot, even though the threshold at which you should be arcane shotting over steady shot is at 55 focus. So you're generally being, and especially because this is not going to be followed up by another steady shot. You're going to go into an aim shot. So it's not like it's contributing to refreshing steady focus, which you've just refreshed before. So yeah, a little bit less aggression on steady shots in general, and make sure to follow the 55 focus rule for arcane versus steady shot. Yeah. Here once again, this, like, I would probably have gotten rid of another aim shot before doing this double steady. Because now you're gonna almost reach the focus cap as you hit this aim shot. And now, like, we've just put up steady focus, then we went aim shot, and now you're refreshing steady focus again with tons of focus and tons of duration left on it. So I think I was reasonably justified in my concern about, like, a little bit too much steady shotting in general, which leads to a, as I said, suspiciously high steady focus uptime. And what I mean by suspicious is, with optimal play, your rotation, your uptime is going to be something like in the mid 70%. So, your uptime is actually a little bit too high, and indicates you might be refreshing steady focus when you don't need to, or when it's going to focus cap you. A little bit of downtime there as you're moving. You could definitely fit in an arcane shot there. That was pretty well executed. That was fine. I think at this point, I'm curious to look through the VOD, or the log rather, to see moments of downtime, and then trying to find those moments of downtime in the VOD. Now, one thing worth noting about this relatively high downtime number is that because WoW Analyzer hasn't really been updated in a while, I mostly just use its semi-scuffed timeline feature. Steel Trap is not counting as a proper global in here, so this will count as downtime, even though you're pressing Steel Trap, which is not a real, bit of downtime. So, I gotta cut you some slack there, but there are certainly moments. These are what we've seen in the VOD itself, I believe, at this point, yeah. So just looking beyond this point. Honestly, there are no major bouts of downtime. It's just occasionally you just kind of a little bit slow on spamming buttons, like after the steady shot here. After this aim shot, the steady shots are slow to follow up. You hit this aim shot here, and then you move for half a second before you arcane. You finish this rapid fire, and then you wait half a second before casting the aim shot. And you can tell from the blue stuff that you were moving here, but then, so it seems to me you need to be a bit more aggressive on not just arcane shotting in general, but arcane shotting when moving and you cannot cast aim shot. Because it seems like right now you're happy to wait a moment with moving for half a second or so and then casting aim shot instead of casting some other spell even when you're only moving for a very short period of time. So if there's one thing that's going wrong here, I'd say it's that. Because it's the main thing that these downtime moments have in common. So here, this is a steel trap, so that's fine. What's the biggest downtime moment I can find? So here, okay, you mentioned this yourself, 447. You stay in turtle for a little bit long. You can find out why that happens if we go back. Okay, so we drop in this pool here. And like, yeah, as soon as you're out here with full HP, like you can, well, you basically cancel the turtle already. So the question is if you activate the turtle early, you slow the video down a bit. So obviously, drop pool is in like 2.5. Yeah, you pop turtle. You could have snuck in another global here. Although at this point you're also rather low, so maybe it's not too bad. Although, you know, turtle is not actually gonna immune. It's gonna reduce the damage taken from the dot, but I think without the healing you ended up getting, you would have died a turtle or not. But yeah. Your overall RNG was, let's see. I mean, RNG was pretty mid. Like you got just a couple of true shot procs. Of course, that's not the only thing that governs or determines how good your RNG was, but it's certainly a part of it. Kill shot seems reasonably high. Like usually, a way you can gauge this is, okay, what percentage of your damage was your kill shot? If it's really high, then you probably got a lot of kill shot procs, and that's a good gauge. I wanted to check out that final true shot you mentioned yourself. So, okay, so bullseye is just that, and then you, okay, so you pop a true shot basically starting at like 10 bullseye stacks when you could have delayed it. A little bit too eager to get into it, so that's certainly something valid here. You did have dash chakram for it, which is nice. Although you could have had the same thing later on here. And, you know, if you'd send the same true... Well, another thing you have to keep in mind is that, you know, what if this true shot had just been insane RNG and it had lasted all this time? Then it would have been a genius decision to do what you did. Although, without lust and everything, that's highly unlikely to happen. And getting to 30 stacks of bullseye is pretty quick. So, I'd say it's pretty much always worth holding for that. But overall, like, you're playing pretty solidly. A little bit much downtime, and I'd say that's the main thing you need to focus on. Arcane shot a bit more, steady shot a little bit less. Be less concerned about steady focus than you currently are, is my general read on it. And that will also lead to less focus capping, because often you have a habit of casting steady shot, whether it's 2 steady shots for steady focus or a single steady shot when you don't need to. You're often casting these steady shots well above 55 focus, which should be the cutoff. Then there's the true shot thing, which you mentioned yourself, staying in a turtle for a little bit long. And then, you know, perhaps, unfortunately, more importantly than many other things, is you unfortunately got some Ebon Might in your opener, which is where you do most of your damage. And actually that is holding back your DPS. And it might not even be intentional on their part, because it doesn't look like you got the prescience buff, which is what they would put on you to basically force you to get Ebon Might. So what you can do to avoid this is you simply just don't be one of the 2 people that are closest to the Evoker. So yeah, look where they are, be as far away from them, especially on pull as possible. You're not the best pull target anyway. You're not a terrible one, but like, you know, they can certainly find others to do it on. As it looks right now, it's just kind of RNG where it's going. So yeah, I hope that helps. Any questions, please don't hesitate to hit me up on Discord. If you're watching this on YouTube and you're interested in getting a Hunter workshop like this for yourself, then please check out my Patreon in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.